Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. It's me again, Teacher Kent. And today we're going to talk about something new. Well, it's not really new. You have already studied this when you were still in P4. However, in order for you to remember this, because this is the basis of science, we will need to study this again. And I am talking about matter. Are you ready? Let's start. Let me just show you my cute little PowerPoint presentation. See that? It's the Banana Brothers. This is all about matter. So, what is matter? Do you guys still remember? Matter is anything that has mass and occupies or takes up space. But what is mass? Well, mass is the amount of matter or substance that makes up an object. It is measured in units called kilograms, which can be abbreviated by kg. It's important to remember that mass is different from weight. Mass always stays the same, while weight changes with changes in gravity. Now, on Earth, you can swap mass and weight. On Earth, you can say, my mass is your weight. Let's say your weight is 40 kilograms. You will say, my mass is 40 kilograms. However, class, that is not always the same because mass, it's the amount of matter or substance that makes up an object. While weight is really different because your weight will depend on where you are. What do I mean by this? Well, you know that the moon is has 6 times less gravity than the earth. It's 6 times less gravity. That means you can jump 6 times higher on the moon than what you can jump in the earth. Now, what does this have to do with weight? Well, weight equals mass multiplied by the strength of gravity. On Earth, the strength of gravity is, we just compute it as 1. However, when you go to the moon, your weight will be divided by 6 because it's 6 times less stronger. So if you are, let's say, 42 kilograms on Earth, and then you go to the moon, when you go to the moon, you will be 6 times less as when you are on the Earth. So if you are 42 kilograms on Earth, you will become only 7 kilograms when you are on the moon. But, take note, your body did not change. You still have the same amount of matter in your body. That is why mass is different from weight. Because when you go to other places or to other planets, your mass will stay the same, while your weight will change depending on the strength of gravity. Do you understand? Do you remember? I think we already talked about this before. Let's go to the next slide. We said that matter is anything that has mass. We understand what is mass. Now let's talk about space. We said that matter takes up space. So what is space? Let's look at the picture below, shall we? You see, there in the picture, there's the baby taking a bath. Now, the space of the bathtub is, oh wait, let's just read first. Look at the picture below. The bathtub, the water, the rubber duck, the rubber toys, the baby, and the air in the ball are matter. They have volumes as they occupy space too. Now, what is space? Space is almost synonymous or almost the same with volume. The space that the baby takes in the bathtub is the baby's own space. That is the baby's own volume. While the bathtub's volume is, or space, is the total amount of volume it has. Space is actually pretty special class because no two objects can sit down on the exact same space at the same time. For example, if I put my wallet or my cell phone on top of my small notebook, it will cover up the space on top of the small notebook. You cannot put anything on top of the small notebook anymore. You can put something on top of the phone. However, that's a completely different space because the top of the small notebook is already covered by my cell phone. Do you understand my explanation? Here is another one. Now, let's say this. Let me just take my phone. Let's just say this phone. This phone, if I put something on top of it, like this container, if I want something, I can no longer put something on the space that is occupied by the container. I cannot put this one. I put this here. If I need this space, if I need to use this space, I will need to take this off before I put it again. It's different if I put it here and then I put it on top. It's not the same space because this time, this one, the space it occupies is now the top of this container. And that is what space is. It's basically the same as volume, except space is special because not if one thing already occupies another space, then nobody else can occupy that space. Do you understand? It's okay if you don't. We will talk about this maybe after our unit test. Let's go to the next one. We said that what is matter? Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. There are actually 1, 2, 3, 4 stages of matter class. I put here 3 because in your book, there is only 3. But a scientist has discovered that there is actually a 4th stage of matter. And the 4th stage of matter is what we call plasma. But don't worry about plasma. We will talk about it, or you will know about it when you go to higher education. For now, let's just review the 3 stages of matter. Okay, now, the 3 stages of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. There are 3 stages of matter. The first one, let's talk about solid. My phone. My phone is solid. What is a solid? It's actually a state of matter that has a fixed shape. Okay? Has a fixed shape, meaning that it has its own shape. In order for you to change the shape of a solid, you need to use force. you need to use your strength in order to change the shape of a solid. It also has its own weight. Now, let's say I have this phone. Let's say Teacher Kent is very strong. I can crush this phone. It will change shape because that it solids can change shape if you are strong enough. However, what will not change is the weight because the solids have fixed shape and fixed weight. And if you look at here, this picture, just right here, this is what the atoms. Do you know what are atoms? It is the smallest part of matter, okay? When you look through something through a very strong microscope, you will see that these are atoms. Molecules of solid, the atoms look like this. They sit side by side with each other, like that, like that. See that? They are so close together, okay? They are so close that attractive forces between the molecules hold them firmly in place. They are very strong. It takes a lot of force in order to break a solid. And that's what you should always remember. A solid has a fixed shape, not only a fixed shape, but a fixed weight. Examples of solids are my cell phone, your laptop, your tablet, your book, your pencil, your eraser. Those are examples of solids. Now let's talk about liquids. Liquids, I'm sorry, liquids, they have some similarities with solids. They have fixed weight, meaning they weigh the same. The only difference they have with solids are solids have fixed shape, while liquids do not. They do not have fixed shape. Whatever container holds the liquid, it will copy the shape of the container. Like, for example, I will get a glass of water. I put water on my glass. The shape of the water will copy the shape of what is holding it. In this case, my glass. It will copy the shape of inside the glass. However, when I transfer it to another container, it will then change shape into another container shape. So liquids do not, do not have fixed shape, but they have fixed weight. Meaning, if I transfer 1 kilogram of water to another 1 kilogram container, the water inside the container will still be 1 kilogram. And if you look through a microscope of what the atoms of water looks like, you will see this picture in the middle. Can you see them? The molecules that make up a liquid flow easily around one another. In the solid, they are held in place. In the liquid, they are not. They can move around any way that they like. Attractive forces between the molecules keep them from flying apart. They move around however they like, but they do not move around so far from each other. So liquids here take the shape of the containers. As you can see right here, the liquids, they just stand there. They copy the shape, which is something like a letter U, like that. And that is if you look through a microscope, okay, of the atoms of liquid. Now, what are examples of liquid? We got water, we got orange juice, we got soda, we got, what else? We also got coffee, the not the powdered one, but the liquid one. Liquid coffee or anything that you can remember. Now, we've talked about solid and liquid. Let's go through the third part or phase or stage of matter. And that is Gas. Gas. Now, gas is the exact opposite of solids. In solids, they have fixed shape and fixed weight. The gas, they do not. In fact, the gas, the atoms are so far apart from each other that you cannot even see them sometimes. An example of a gas is the one that we use to live right here, right now. When you breathe in and when you breathe out. That is the example of gas. The molecules that make up a gas fly in all directions. If you are able to get some gas and put it under a microscope, you will see that they look like the third one. See that? Because the molecules are so far from each other, they do not have fixed shape. And because the molecules are so far from each other again, they even don't have fixed weight. So it will just be, if you want to weigh the oxygen or the gas, it will be very, very hard because you need to try and get oxygen, which you cannot see, and then put it in a container. If you look at here, there's a big difference between the liquid and the gas. At least the liquid, the molecules are still close to each other. The gas, there's a big far gap between some molecules. Sometimes the molecules touch each other, but they don't have strong energy to keep it together. So let's review, okay? Oh no, wait, before we review, let's talk about gas. What are the examples of gas? Like I said before, we got oxygen, we got carbon dioxide, we got carbon monoxide, nitrogen, hydrogen. Those are examples of gas. Now we can review. Remember, the solids have fixed shape and fixed weight. That's it. That's all you need to remember. If you can remember that it has fixed shape and fixed weight, you will know what a solid is. The same goes for liquid. You know that the liquid also have fixed weight, but they don't have a fixed shape. They copy the shape of the containers. And finally, we got the gas, which has no fixed weight and no fixed shape. And that is it for today. I hope you understood or you remember our previous lessons. After our test, we are going to be talking about matter. Till next time, goodbye.